1,
2,
3.
Hey, what's up, guys?
What's up?
What's going on?
Cody, welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for making me feel welcome here.
You're by far the tallest guest we've had.
I know. I
on.
said just I said like this.
Yeah.
I won't do that, though.
You are a monster compared to Alexis, who normally sits there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, welcome.
How cool is this, man? This is awesome. Look at this TRS on the
I know.
table.
Thank you,
Table,
Josiah. It's
Josiah.
really cool.
It's crazy.
TRS Podcast is a reality now, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I've honestly wanted a podcast for years.
I know.
And the Don't Fret with David Fret podcast, but it's the TRS podcast now. Maybe in the future I'll do a Don't Fret with David Fret.
Maybe.
But maybe we can make that into like a little segment or something.
Okay.
Right.
Whatever.
And then
But
it's like the spin-off.
yeah.
Is that?
Yeah,
That's-
spin-off.
I love it.
Yeah. If we do that segment, I know the first topic could be,
What?
what's up with the sweatshirt?
What's up with the sweatshirt? It's cotton candy. So, like, this article of clothing is the most talked about clothing I've ever owned.
Yeah.
I was in the School of Divinity earlier, and Dr. Holshoff literally came up and said, I like the sweatshirt. I was like, thank you. So,
Wow.
cotton candy.
And that's the sum of all
That's the sum.
stories for the sweatshirt.
I mean, everybody just said, nice sweatshirt. I like it.
Okay.
I said,
Okay.
hey, thank you. I don't know what color it is. I'm colorblind, but...
Yeah.
You know, no. Last night we were playing the game. It was like the egg scavenger hunt or crowd egg hunt or whatever. And there was like an item that had to go up on the. It was an item on the screen, and they had to run up and like first one to do it. You guys did it in like the pre-service, I think. But it was a red bracelet, and
They could have just thrown anything your
Poppy
way.
brings up a red bracelet, and I'm like. This isn't red. There was a lot of different colors.
So
in
how
it.
do you know?
Landon comes up. I give it to him. He said, "This is the purest form of red I've ever seen."
So how do you know that it's not red? If you're colorblind, how do you
Right.
how do you look and go?
I was
"That's
wearing
not"?
a red hoodie. It was like it.
So you were trying to match
like,
it. How do you know your hoodie was red? Maybe somebody lied to you.
Maybe.
Oh, God.
They lied to you.
Maybe.
Oh,
Oh,
I don't want to
no.
think about that. You've been being lied to all your life. This is the Matrix.
Wow.
But yeah, that'd be messed up. With blue pill or red pill, you'd be in trouble.
Oh.
That's crazy. Think about that.
my.
Think about that.
Flip.
Wow.
Number them.
Yeah.
From
I
now
didn't think
on,
of that.
man.
It's like when we were talking about like the colors for the folders, and it's like I've
Yeah.
been being lied to. I don't have the right answers.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to be on with you guys. It's
Yeah.
been fun to watch. I've been watching them all the way through, and
Oh yeah.
so it's exciting to see where it's been, but really start thinking about where it's going to go as we even do it. We can carry it through the summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're thinking about different things through the summer, so.
Not ready to.
We're not really ready to disclose our information
It's coming
for the
soon.
summer.
It's coming soon.
Yeah, in the works.
In the works.
Got it.
But anyways, it's 3 guys on the podcast today. So the boys.
The boys.
Boys.
And you know what boys love?
Food.
Food. Yeah.
I'm really hungry.
I
I'm
do
not
love
gonna
food. Yeah. I ate breakfast and I also ate a snack, but they also love sports.
Sports.
Let's
So
go.
I'm a huge
Yay,
sports
sports.
fan.
Yay, sports.
Yay, sports.
Yay.
What's your favorite sport? Tim, I know you have played soccer.
Played soccer. Love soccer. I've been getting more into football recently.
Let's
Cody
go.
knows. We talk about football quite often.
Yeah.
So,
You asked me all about like your fantasy football team.
I did. I felt like Dave was like really into was just like a big fantasy guy. So like him and I would just talk about fantasy football all the time. So it was he helped me out a little bit here and there.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, Cody and I were in the TR League. I didn't lose to the winner of the league. I beat him, so I
Yeah.
technically am the winner of the league.
I literally played in the championship game.
I know you beat me.
I know I did.
In the not in the championship, but in the playoffs.
Okay.
First round, it was.
Everybody got mad because I traded Kelsey to you, right?
Yeah.
And everybody was
big.
so
That's a
everybody
big
was so mad at me,
It's
and then
like,
Kelsey
what?
went on a nosedive after that.
That's
Also,
a big move.
coincident. Well, we
Taylor
won't.
Swift.
We're not going down that road.
Hey.
No.
I think we've talked about Taylor Swift in every single
Yeah.
episode.
we
Let's
need to
just-
give
yeah,
it a break.
let's not.
we
Let's
need to give
not.
it a break.
What's your
So-
favorite sports?
Football.
Mm-hmm.
I played football from 7th grade until I graduated. I'm a huge football fan. I like baseball. I don't watch baseball really. I mean, it's hard to watch sometimes. I know they've done a lot of different changes, but I like going to games. Maybe I'll try to go to the Hillcats game this summer, or some Liberty baseball games. So baseball games are fun to be at. I don't really watch them though. And then I like every sport. Basketball, I love to play. I don't watch the NBA anymore. That's like a high school me that I would watch basketball.
NBA.
And yeah, I mean, it's hard to watch games now. It's like you need all these streaming packages, or just like all this stuff. So it's like pay-per-views.
Yeah.
But what about you, Cody?
So for me, everybody's going to probably associate football with me. I did play football at LCA.
I would have thought basketball.
Yeah, I know most people do when they
play center.
but when you stand me up next to basketball guys, I'm really average. I'm 6'5". But I played football at LCA. I played football before I moved to Lynchburg, and then I played a year at Liberty as well, and just absolutely loved the game of football. My mom worked for Coach Gibbs when he was with the Redskins, and
that's crazy.
And then I've been a Carolina Panthers fan.
I'm sorry.
I know for all my life. Well, all since '95, the whole life of the team.
Hey, you guys just signed Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah, I know we did. It's great. And so I even had some friends that played on the team on Panthers. So and then of course LU football, man. I live and breathe LU football.
Yeah. Mr. Tailgate.
I know.
Mr. Tailgate.
And we can talk about that too. But for me, I played baseball from the time that I was like 7 years old, years old, and I lived up near Washington D.C. and that was before they had the Nationals, and so I was an Orioles fan. Wow. And so I remember Cal Ripken's rookie year and following him through. I tried to be number 8, and I played baseball here at LCA and hit a home runs out of the. So I love it. I love going to games. I wait for opening day. The reason that nobody really associates me with that is, number one, streaming packages are hard to get, and you don't get a lot of Orioles games here.
Right. Yeah, I'm a Phillies fan.
And then Orioles, typically for the last decade, they're relevant up until about 3 days after opening day. No, I mean, sometimes
you start 0-3, you're automatically
sometimes
done.
They're good until the All-Star break, and then they start going downhill. So I've gotten kind of used to that rhythm of I'll follow them, but I don't do a lot of go O's because everybody's like, who? But like I'm excited about them because they really did well last year, made the playoffs, and my thing is this year I think we got a young World Series team.
Oh wow!
I do.
Hot takes already.
It's a big hot take.
But I think that's an easy hot take. I mean, we literally had over 100 wins. And we stormed from second place into the playoffs. They have that bye in the playoffs, which cursed almost everybody that had to bye.
Yeah.
But they were playing so well, and they're so young.
Who'd they lose to in the playoffs?
Was
it the Rangers?
I think, the Rangers.
Okay.
So they lose that, and then they come back and they add pitching to their rotation, and now they're like not picked to win the division. They're like picked to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you're in the same division as the Yankees.
Right.
But like the Yankees, like they're like the stacked team, but like they're so like they always underperform.
Stop with the Yankees.
No, I'm not a Yankees fan. Their team is like their roster is insane, but they always underperform.
The Yankees are my brother's favorite team, and so stop with the Yankees because we literally won the division last year and we didn't lose a whole.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that like they got a good team, but they always underperform.
So true. So I'll respect that, but the fact that the Orioles are put like not even picked to win or finish well. Yeah. It makes it a hot take to say that they're going to go far.
Put some respect on my name.
I think it's an easy one. So baseball is big. I love watching March Madness. I'm not big in the NBA.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's be real. In my everyday life, I'm already planning tailgates for
football rules in America,
football,
especially in the South.
Oh my goodness. I love the experience of going to Liberty football games. I love.
Yeah.
We tailgate. We get out there at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning on game day, and me and my brother-in-law we set up our tailgates, and we look at it as ministry too.
Yeah.
We'll have anywhere from 50 to 100 people come through our tailgates.
I've been to one.
I know.
Get some good food. Watch people play Fortnite.
We'll bring a ton of chairs and I mean, come hang out with us because it's a lot of fun. We love seeing people.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for the day I get to try some Cheerwine chili.
Cheerwine chili.
I haven't tried it yet.
So maybe one day.
Guys,
I know.
Maybe
Guys.
You've been here almost.
I'm literally a brand ambassador for Cheerwine. So
Yeah.
You
If you
are.
don't know already,
if you don't know, I literally tell everybody.
if you follow him on Instagram, you know Cody loves 3 things in his life: Cheerwine, LU football, and his bug.
His bug. Cody literally walked in here and was like, "Dang, I forgot
And-
brought my cheer wine."
and my
And
family.
Jesus and his
And-
family.
And my family.
Yeah. Well, that's a given. Your hobbies are
There
Cheerwine,
you go.
tailgating, and fixing
Yep.
your bug.
I'm in the middle of a restoration. I gotta overhaul my engine. Bugs are unique in that we'll back it up onto a little ramp, and it's like 4 bolts, and you can drop the whole engine out. Me
my
and Carter
goodness.
can carry the engine down and just work on it. And then
Your engine's in the
Right.
back of the car, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. No water in the whole thing, so it's nice.
Wow.
Wow.
What year is it?
1973.
Oof.
She has a name. Her name is Pippa.
So it's 51 years old.
Don't y'all laugh. Some of y'all driving like 5-year-old cars that
Wow.
stuck off the road
That's
because
fair.
they're terrible.
You have put a lot of work into that car, though, haven't you?
Not really.
He's put a lot of love into that car.
A lot of love into it.
I mean, I spend maybe $100 a year
Okay.
doing stuff on it.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is gonna be the biggest thing that I do. Is
Yeah.
overhaul the engine.
Nice. But yeah, sports.
Sports and cars.
And
cars.
Sports and cars.
Yeah, and food.
We got everywhere.
We're the guys. This is the guys podcast.
This is the guys' podcast. What goes in, so like we were talking about the tailgate. I'm kind of interested. What goes into like planning your tailgates? Because like it's like you have like Liberty, like literally like President Dondi comes.
Yep.
And he
Yep.
like knows it. Knows you very well now
Yep.
because of it.
Yep.
So like what goes into like obviously it's a pretty popular thing on a Saturday morning for a LU football game.
So the whole thing behind it is this. Back in about 2000, 2001, something like that, Liberty was playing VMI. It was before all the double-decker stadium and
Virginia
everything.
Military Institute.
Yeah, and we were down. I want to say we were down by 28 points. And
Wow.
going into the middle of the third quarter, late third quarter, and my sister-in-law and my wife were like, "We got to go.
I'm going home.
Let's go." And me and my brother-in-law like, we don't like to leave, but we're getting creamed by VMI at that
Yeah.
point.
Right.
And so we get out of the stadium, and long story short, we go to eat. By the time we get home, pull it up on the radio, Liberty's made a comeback. And I think it's still the biggest
Really?
comeback in their history. And we were like, and of course,
I missed it.
the legend Jerry Edwards is on the radio calling the game. He goes, "If you stepped outside the stadium
What
and
is
didn't
wrong
stay,
with
you
you?"
have missed a great game." And I'm going,
Yeah.
this is never happening again."
It's like if you're at the Falcons Patriots
28-3.
Yeah, 28-3.
Oh.
And what if you left?
What if you left?
Imagine leaving a Super Bowl early with how
Right.
expensive the tickets are, though. But
So granted, it wasn't, Patriots,
Right.
Falcons.
Yeah.
It was
Liberty
Keydets,
VMI.
Flames. But we said we're never going to let that happen again. So we moved away, and when we moved back here, 2 years ago, I talked to my brother-in-law. They live a couple hours away, and both his daughters, older daughters, go here. He said, "Let's get tickets."
Oh, yeah.
He goes, and let's just experience Liberty football.
Let's change LU football culture.
Bro, that's
Right.
exactly what we said, because there were people that tailgated, but I said, let's help tailgate culture develop.
Yeah, let's have a real tailgate.
Yeah. And we just have this feeling also that there's a lot of perception that there has to be alcohol at tailgates for it to be fun. Not true. Like, we have a blast. And
Yeah.
over this last year, we said we're gonna plan our meals, and so we plan out the whole week.
Yeah.
Because 12 o'clock games, you have to get there early, and it's a breakfast tailgate. So
Yeah.
we'll have sausage and bacon and eggs and all those things.
Biscuits.
Biscuits.
3 o'clock games, the ones that are kind of the mid-afternoon, we'll have a lunch
Oh, yeah.
type thing. Okay, but you got to think about that. And then the late games, we just eat from noon
All
until
day.
All
until
day.
6. And so we'll bring out snacks. We'll do all the things. We have a flat top grill that we
Yeah.
cook. My brother-in-law is incredible cooking. Shout out, Todd. He's amazing. But on top of that, we've kind of created a persona. You said bucket hat brother.
Yeah.
The bucket
Bucket
hat
hat
brothers.
brothers.
And what that is I mean, I'm bald. I don't know if you know this, but I'm bald. So I got
Like King Neptune bald.
So I got this bucket hat and put it on that my daughter had won at a game to keep my ears from burning, keep my head from burning. My brother-in-law got a Nike one. We didn't really plan it,
Yeah.
but we also get crazy in the games. We're stand up, cheer, all the things. You've seen it. Like, third down, we're going to stand up the whole time, and we get on the TV a lot on the jumbotron.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And And so people are starting to recognize, hey, they're having fun doing this. And this guy looks at my wife, goes, hey, are you with the Bucket Hat Brothers down there? And she goes, yeah, I guess I am. And we're like, hey, it's stuck. So
That's cool.
There's a lot of things on Liberty Twitter. So we started saying Bucket Hat Brothers, and people just started showing up saying, could I try some of this? Could I try some of that? So we just started inviting people.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And people just started hanging out. And so we set
Fellowship.
more chairs out. And it wound up being opportunities for the gospel.
Yeah.
We feed police officers and the maintenance guys when they come by. We encourage them. We pray with people. There's been people that have come that are visiting the school and want to know, is this really what it seems to be?
Yeah.
The New Mexico State Band came out after their warm up, and they're walking across, and we hollered at them. They all came. We got a picture of us hanging out with the band, and gave them cheer wine for the first time. So we've just looked at it as an opportunity to develop community and center it around football, and it's been really cool.
That's
awesome.
awesome. Yeah, we can use sports for the glory of God, and like FCAs, and like I did a lot of FCA in high school. I was the president my senior year, and being able to I led the team in prayer. All my brothers have led the team in prayer, and so being like spiritual mentors, spiritual influencers, being able to lead spiritual leaders, as in leading your sports teams, so that your teammates, so that other people can learn to grow closer to God.
Yeah. I want to talk about that a little bit more, because like I feel like one of the biggest, like we're talking about sports here, and I get to be blessed to be a part of like our high school ministry with and I get to coach a lot of guys who they're athletes for LCA and stuff like that. And I think the biggest thing that we all have also grown up playing sports. I played soccer for a good amount of my time, and the biggest thing that I remember like growing up was the hardest thing was that there's so much pressure with sports nowadays, especially high school sports and middle school sports. Like there's so much pressure with it that it almost becomes like it's extremely hard to be able to live out your faith while you're on the field.
Yeah.
So my question is, how is your guys' experience, and I'll include mine, but like how was your guys' experience like with that? Like how were you able to, like, beyond the pressures of playing football and playing baseball and hitting home runs, and beyond your pressures of playing football, you were able to also lead your team through your faith? And maybe I know Lynchburg's a little bit different with that, but like I've
Maybe
I'm
not,
a Western.
maybe not different.
Okay, tell me that. I'm curious actually about that.
So like being honest, like it honestly is really hard. And when I was in high school, my faith wasn't the greatest. I was a Christian. I didn't really live crazy like a Christian. I wasn't all out in my faith, but being able, I saw myself cave into the pressure, and I want to be able to say like, hey, you don't have to do that. You need to just make the decision, be like, hey, you're called to be different. And like having conversations, be intentional with your conversations, and be able to not just call people out. Don't call people out. Call people up in their faith. Call people up in their actions, so that like if somebody's doing something wrong, you do like, hey, like tighten up, like lock in, be like, hey, like do this, because don't give them the what, but also give them the why behind it. So being able to understand the intimacy, the intensity, and the intentionality behind those conversations.
You've never said that before, have you?
I've never said that before. Well, yeah, I have said intimacy and intensity.
That's good.
Not the
I like that.
intentionality.
Dave is
though.
really good at bringing out like these like little like liners, alliteration liners.
That's really good, though.
Thank you.
That is good.
We need to put that in the bottom notes right there. So it's interesting because I did play football here at LCA, and I mean, of course, it's a Christian school, right? And I came from a public school up in Northern Virginia, where living out your faith was, I don't want to say it was easier, but there was more of a line of demarcation. They knew that I was a Christian, and so there was this kind of this expectation that I wasn't going to say or do things, and they did that around me. But I tried to have a positive influence, but I was a younger guy on that team. When I got here, it was interesting because there were some Christians on the team, but there was also some non-Christians, and learning what it meant to represent the name of the school that's on your jersey was an interesting thing. And some of our guys, man, they were ruthless when it came to trash talk on the field and things that you would say.
Yeah.
But there was one specific moment where it all came to a head for me on how to live. And it changed me forever. And I wish I could find this guy to this day. Played for Brunswick Academy down in Southern Virginia. Interestingly enough, where Brunswick stew comes from, but that's a whole nother trivia.
Derek loves Brunswick stew.
I know. So Brunswick Academy comes up here to play, and they have this running back. His name's Willie, and so all week long he was really good. We're preparing just to throw this guy down, right?
Yeah.
And we get in there, and we're a better team than them, and it's clear from the beginning. But I remember Willie comes. I played right defensive end, and he comes around, and the guy that was pulling missed his block, missed me, and I laid into Willie, and I laid him out and down. And I'm not a trash talker, but I really took him down. So
you do the John Cena, you can't see me.
You RKO'd him.
Dude, RKO. Willie stands up and he just pats me on the helmet, says "Good tackle," and I'm like. Don't touch me. Yeah.
Don't touch
me.
Don't touch me. And, what did he say? And then the next play, Jason Brown hits him, who Jason Brown Fieldhouse is named after here. Jason Brown, great linebacker, hits him. And Jason Brown did talk some trash. And he gets down, he goes, "Yeah, boy." He stands up, he goes, "Man," he goes, "Keep it up." And we're like, "What are you doing?" Like, he's encouraging us every time we hit him and take him down. Yeah. But it's not like he's not trying. Finally gets hit, taken down. One of their guys gets hurt. I remember this as clear as day. It's right out here at Williams Stadium. He gets up and he walks over and he pats us on the head. He goes, "Man," he goes, "I'm the only believer on my team. I'm going to get emotional talking about this." And he goes, "All season long, I've been looking forward to this day." He goes, because I told my guys, because when you see how believers play, when you see the integrity and the intensity with which these guys play for the King of all kings. He's like, I've been evangelizing. He goes, "I am so excited to be on the field with believers, playing the game I love, and watching you represent Christ." And I'm going, in my head, if you knew that about 6 of these guys on this team don't even know Christ, right now. Yeah. But it changed it because I'm like, now I can't hate this guy.
He's like, how am I supposed to tackle him now?
We beat them by like 40 points.
Yeah.
But it changed the way that I played.
Right.
I recognize that everything that I do, I'm doing for the glory of God. And the way that I treat my opponent, the way that I play every down was different. And that changed my life.
Yeah.
And so I recognize the way that I practice, the way that it's a testimony to the guys that are on my team.
Yeah.
I'm at Lynchburg Christian, at that time it was Lynchburg Christian Academy, but I know guys on my team that don't know Jesus. And I know the way that I live in front of them, the way that I play, the way that I am is going to either validate the gospel or it's going to cause it to be called false. So I would love one day to find. I've reached out to their athletic director to find who was the guy back in the 90s. I went way early in the 90s that played. They got to know who that guy was.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I've always, once I went into student ministry, I've always wanted to reach out to that guy and say, "Man, you changed my life in that one moment."
That's such an awesome story though, because it's like on the field, like knowing like how like you reflect Jesus throughout what you do and your motives when you're on the field. Like we all can get up and we can all like go for a tackle. You know, I definitely, you know, I'm the shortest guy on the soccer field. I've definitely have gotten up a couple times and not really squared off with a kid or something like that who's definitely taller than me.
Right.
But I was, you know, letting my frustrations out a little bit. But just like knowing and I knowing that like my like how I reflect Jesus on the field is going to also reflect like by like my teammates as well.
Yeah.
But also to think about like the other team that plays us. You know what I mean? Like that's all. Like that's something to also think about.
Yeah.
We like myself. Like I didn't grow up in Virginia. I grew up in West Virginia, and you know West Virginia. They need some loving, you know, some Jesus loving a little bit up there. But like the guys that I play with, I was real close with the guys that I play with soccer. Like we were a tight knit group. But were they, you know, believers? No, you know what I mean. We weren't really following as much, and it got to the kind of point, and I think that this is something that like students nowadays like they struggle with is like they want to be to be the best person on the field. You kind of have to run with the crowd that is seen as the best like people on the field.
Right.
And so then in action of that, then you end up kind of almost becoming somebody you're not. You're almost kind of reflecting them instead of reflecting Jesus. And that's really not also reflecting you. You know what I mean? And so like growing up with that, like that idea, I almost like ended up like, this is a testimony of mine. Like I fed into that a little bit. Like I did. Like I was like so used to like becoming somebody different so I could then become the best, you know, striker on the field or the best forward on the field. Right. And you know, once I, you know, an injury on the field took me out an entire season, and Jesus took a hold of me and was like, "Listen, this is your opportunity now to really just dive into like my love for you, That was like one of the best moments that in my life, and like really what called me into ministry, especially student ministry. And you know, and then so beyond that, I got to play like my senior year and like reflect like whether that looks through like what we talk about like prayer, like leading your like my team in prayer before and after a game. I think I said this in podcast one time. Like I really didn't think much into it. It was just something that I wanted to do. And then it was like one game where I was like in my head a lot with it, and I forgot to pray. And one of like the teammates came up to me and was like, "Hey, we're praying before this game, right? We're definitely praying." And I was like,
That's cool.
Absolutely, bro.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
What a moment, man.
When you're playing sports, you got a jersey, and on that jersey, your number represents you.
Yeah.
Your logo represents your school, your institution, your team, but also your whole uniform, your whole body, everything that you do, everything you say represents Jesus.
Yeah.
And so are you using your actions? Are you using your words? Are you using the way you show yourself off to not just your team, not just yourself, not just the other team, not just everyone in the crowd?
Yeah.
Are you showing those things, the love and the grace of Jesus?
That's good.
So
Yeah, and you can see it when you watch a game. You can see those who are different. I mean, the way they carry themselves, the way they handle the adversity. Maybe even not just contentious situations where there's like a fight or anything like that.
Right, yeah.
But the way that they're leading their peers or their teammates through good times or bad times. You know, you can see the ones that step up and lead in those situations. And it makes a difference.
Yeah. Well, I got a question for you, Cody.
Okay.
And this is a really a hard question, especially in our student culture. But a lot of times students have to choose, hey, am I going to go to the sports? Am I going to be a part of the sports team? And they have games, they have practices every Wednesday. And then if they have that, they can't go to church. So how do you choose between being a part of a sports team and then being a part of your youth group, being a part of your church?
Man, this is a loaded question.
Yeah,
and so I'm gonna try and break it down.
Yeah.
Piece by piece, edit it how you will. You know. Okay, so the reality is that God has called us in all things to glorify Him.
Yeah.
Like whatever we say or do, we need to glorify Him. And there's a lot of people that would go to the book of Hebrews that says, you know, don't neglect the gathering together of yourselves, but do so as the day approaches. You know, the day of the Lord is approaching. And so I would, if a student came to me and asked that, which often they don't because they're afraid that they know what I'm going to say, it's you know, if that is where you feel like you want to spend this season of your time with, there are some certain things that I would say you want to make sure of. Number one, be involved in your church. If that's the Sunday morning gathering of believers where you're coming together, come in, crack open your notebook, crack open your Bible, sing, worship, take notes, apply the scriptures, and grow in your faith.
Yeah.
Secondly, surround yourself with Christian community. If you can't be there on Wednesday night because your team is playing, I get it. I mean, I played football, you played soccer, I played baseball, you played. I mean, we all did that, and sports are not inherently evil because they practice on a Wednesday night. But because you do that and you recognize that's one of the times that I have the opportunity to be around believers that's helping me grow in my faith, that'll no longer be there. And like we've said, it's often not a spiritual thing within the huddle or within the thing, that we need to find those opportunities to surround ourselves with other believers that are going to hold us accountable to our walk. In TRS, we have life groups that meet on Sunday night. And so be involved in a life group that is being authentic with each other and that can cheer you on and encourage you and hold you accountable and all of those things. So, yes, I'd love for somebody to not be gone on a Wednesday night, but I recognize that they will. And if we only point out sports, we forget that there are families sometimes that because of the need for, I had to work as a kid. You know, I had a single mom and I had to buy most of my clothes and I had to buy a lot of my food and I was playing. So a lot of Wednesday nights I was working at Domino's Pizza, you know, and for all of the church history, there are times where farmers and like there's times that people can't gather together. So you still find that opportunity. Where am I growing in my faith? How am I connecting with the body of Christ overall? So if you're going to say, hey, I can't come on Wednesday, the thing I would say is, okay, how are you making sure that you're still surrounded?
Yeah.
Because it's not about, you don't get a medal in heaven for perfect attendance. What will be asked is, what did you do with the time that you had?
Yeah. And sometimes students, like, they feel the pressure from their parents. It's like the parents are like, hey, you need to be a part of this team. You need to do this so that you can go to get a scholarship one day. But sometimes it hurts them, the students, as they're not getting involved in church. And when I was a student playing football, I wasn't able to go on Wednesday nights because I had sports. And honestly, it hurt my spiritual development so much because I wasn't able to spend time in that intentional Christian community with other believers around me. So from personal experience, it's like I loved sports, but I also had to feel the tension of like it like looking back at it, knowing that it hurt my spiritual development in my middle and high school years, which is the most important time of your life.
You know what one of the coolest things is like when there's a sports season going on, and we're getting ready to go into the worship service, and you see different guys and girls coming from their practices or whatever. Still, some of them will still like have just a T-shirt on or whatever, and they'll roll
Sweaty.
in.
Yeah,
Sweaty and smelly.
What's neat is we talk about all the fun that we have on the front end of stuff, but when they're rolling in right at the time that worship begins, for the music and for the message, like for me, man, what a statement that you make when you go, I'm tired, like, and I try and hold back food, and I'm gonna tell you, if you're watching, you made it to this point, and you got to practice, and you're gonna be hungry, let us know, and we'll make a plate for you. We'll set it aside, but come in hungry, come in tired, but saying, I'm still going to be there on Wednesday night. That's cool to see. Then God reward that, not necessarily in W's on the field, but in that continued growth in their faith.
Yeah, and I know in high school yesterday we had a good bit of like maybe 7 to 10 like the baseball players from LCA like show up, and they look like they just got out of practice.
That's right.
They
had their
did.
that was awesome.
They basically
cool.
did.
So one cool example. Very rarely will you ever have a kid in youth group that's going to make it to college playing a sport, much less excel or go into professional sports. But every once in a while, you do have that.
Yeah.
And we had a girl a couple years ago that was a gymnast. And I don't mean just like, we have a lot of gymnasts. She was really good. I don't know anything about gymnastics. So they were saying gold, elite, something, numbers, whatever. I started learning that she's like Olympic level.
That's crazy.
Gymnast. She started coming when she was in 6th grade because she was just really good, but she wanted something different. She was training all week long. She wanted something different. And this kid never missed Wednesday night. She never missed a Wednesday night. And going on, I realized she's one of the top gymnasts in the entire country. She got a full ride her junior year to Arkansas. She could have gone to any SEC school.
Wow. And
now she's competing at the highest level in the country. I mean, she's in the SEC
it's crazy.
Tournament right now. And putting out 9.9s on, I'm acting like I know what I'm talking about, but I'm not. But it is the first time that I've ever sat on Friday nights and watched a gymnastics meet because one of my kids is out there. But the thing that was significant was throughout her middle school and high school, she didn't miss Wednesday night. Like she actually, for our winter retreat, she missed one of her meets, a big meet, in order to be there for that.
That's awesome.
And it was just cool to see that, you know what, she still got her scholarship.
Yeah. And sometimes there's the sacrifice that's needed.
Yeah. And she came to a point at I think it was at that one that she said, she turned to where she goes, everything that I do for the Lord now. Like everything that every time I do a routine, every time I do a rep or whatever, she goes, I know that this is for Jesus. And it was really cool. There was a picture that was posted on some SEC site or NCAA site of her holding hands with another gymnast, and they're praying before their meet.
That's
so cool.
And stuff.
Wow.
So it can be done. It's not always possible, but I just think that there are ways that if you have a gift of playing sports, don't waste it.
Yeah.
Use it for the Lord so that you don't look back and go, man, I should have. Make it big for Jesus.
Yeah. And I will encourage like our listeners too. Like, I mean, I know we all could probably sit here and say like, I wish I could go back when I was younger and I could be able to play soccer again. I could be on the soccer field. You know what I mean? I know you guys could probably say the same thing. When
I'd
you're,
love to be able to play football.
Yeah, like I would love to have that moment like again. You know what I mean? Where I was like, I wasn't standing up out of this chair making noises. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. But like something that I wish I would have done better with, especially like when it came to like training, like, you're training, like training in high school, you have school as well, like your homework and stuff like that. But like normally the training would work for me was like you would wake up in the morning, we were normally doing runs, we'd go to school, and then after school you had practice, maybe you had a little hour from school to practice to maybe eat or something like that. And so the training method was pretty was pretty intense. And I think one of the things that I would encourage like our students is just like if that like is kind of like the vibe that you have right now with your sports, stuff like that, include reading the word into your training.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Include that. Like make that a part of your training method, whether it's like literally you wake up in the morning and you're reading the word. I know for me when I started doing that, I found it like so much like I just like found so much freshness when I was in my life, especially being able to go like just with sports and stuff like that. I found so much freshness from that. And like to me also though, like I was able to do that through a lot of accountability as well. So like accountability is also really important with that. But
That's good,
making the word just a part of your daily like training methods. How you prepare for like a game. You know what I mean? I had a guy who told me he was on my hall my freshman year. He told me before he would go to game, like he was always in the locker room to himself with his AirPods in. He was like reading the word.
That's good.
I'm like,
I like that a lot.
Everybody else is around you like crazy.
To the word. I was
they're listening to like
to
like they're blasted music like that. But he was different like that. He was like he wanted to be in the word and make sure that his mind was free with how he wanted to go out there. And I was just like that's just a testament to itself.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean? So
man.
So yeah,
it's been fun.
Fun.
Let's do one more. I got another question.
Okay.
It's a fun question, debated question, but so the 90s were kind of your thing. How old were you in the 90s? In your 20s?
Bro, I turned in 1990. I turned 16.
Okay.
And then in 2000 I was 26.
So in the 90s, you saw America's team then, the Cowboys, play and win all those Super Bowls.
Well, the early 90s, because after 95 they didn't do anything.
Yeah, so since 95, the Cowboys have not been in a conference championship at all, I guess.
Right, okay.
And that's before I was born. I was born in 2000. So my question is this. Are the Cowboys still America's team? You can answer this too, Tim.
So I've got such a bias against them, man. I told you my mom worked for Joe Gibbs with the Redskins.
I'm
and
an
all
Eagles fan. I hate the Cowboys.
I'm gonna say yes.
Wow.
Why? Just in the same way. I mean, I hate the Yankees. But it's like the default. I mean, if you ask average Americans to name four football teams, they're gonna say the Cowboys is one of them.
Okay.
So I feel like they've been marketed so well. That Jerry Jones is
with how bad of an owner he
is.
But he's genius, man. He's made so much money off of making them mediocre. No, I'm serious. If he can keep
first, second round exits every year.
If he can keep them right, he doesn't pay too much for the talent on the team, but he keeps them just interesting enough that people follow him.
Yeah,
and they're so marketable. So I would say probably not in the same way as the Roger Staubach days or Tom Landry and Troy Aikman and Jimmy Johnson. Not that same way, but in the sense that there's an absence of any other team that would. I mean, who else would we consider?
So do you think?
I guess
so.
My
the Chiefs aren't America's team. It's like that's like the dynasty. That's like the Patriots.
Yeah.
I guess that's like my first question. Is like, what makes you America's team?
I don't know.
Like,
What does make it?
I don't know.
Hey, that'd be a good thing to put in the comments. I don't know, because it definitely. There were times during Tom Landry's career when Tom Landry, for those of you that don't know, was the coach of the Cowboys back in like the 80s and stuff like that. Legendary coach, but he had some very terrible years. I mean, terrible years, but they were still America's team.
Okay.
And I think it's a marketing thing. It's the from an outside the United States thing. Americas are the that's Cowboys, the West, and so they're.
I think the name is just like it tells you like America.
Right.
It does, 'cause-
and maybe that's what it is. I guess in my head, I'm like, how can you be America's favorite team, but also be America's least favorite team in the world? You know, in NFL.
So I feel like it's America's
Because
team.
when you're the most popular, you also have the most critics, I guess.
I guess so.
That's right.
I guess so. And maybe, honestly, the next like couple years, I think Kansas City is going to end up becoming like America's most disliked team because of.
But
just-
that's
I think
a
they're
temporary
already like
thing.
there now.
But that's a
That's-
temporary
yeah.
thing.
It's like
That's
the
the while
Patriots.
you're good, people hate you.
Right.
And then when you're not, I mean, I wouldn't mind for the Browns to win for now, but if they got really good and won all the time, then I'd be like, stop winning. You know? I don't like that.
Yeah.
I just think that you have the Cowboys that if you're close to football, like I'm a Panthers fan. I was a Redskins fan growing up. I don't like the Cowboys. I hate them.
Mm-hmm.
But people who are casual observers, Cowboys. I know the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's an interesting debate.
But I hate the Cowboys.
I think I
You know
would.
who else hates the Cowboys? Stephen A. Smith.
Stephen A. Smith, man. I would say though, like I don't think that I would say that wouldn't consider them America's favorite team. They're a great dynasty. I think there's a lot of good dynasties in NFL. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Mm-hmm.
All right, like if you grew up on the Pittsburgh Steelers, you're gonna automatically become a Pittsburgh Steelers
Right.
fan. It's just
Yeah.
how it is. And I have a lot of hope for them this year. They made a lot of great
They did.
moves. They made a lot of great moves in this offseason.
We'll see if either of their quarterbacks are cut out. Though.
Listen, I'm excited. It's going to be great to see what happens, but that's my thoughts on the Cowboys. I don't know if they were the
So
America's.
if Dallas isn't America's team, I don't think there is an America's team.
That's fair.
I mean, there's 32 American teams, so it's There's 32 America's
That is
teams.
right.
Well, anyways, thank
Yeah.
you guys for joining in. Cody, thanks for hopping in. That
Thanks,
was
man,
Cody.
definitely.
great discussion.
For sure.
You're
You
an
guys
awesome,
doing a great job with
yeah,
this.
you're an awesome storyteller, and
Absolutely.
you're also very tall and bald.
I was very tall and bold.
You next year for Halloween, you should dress up as King Neptune.
Ooh.
So from SpongeBob,
I would dig it.
but that would be insane.
Cody, do we have any fun things happening in high school in the near future that we could talk about?
I mean, the fun things is baseball.
That's fair. The tailgate.
We're doing a father-son baseball game. We're doing mother-daughter tea on April 13th, and the
Yep.
Yeah.
father-son baseball game is also on that day.
Yeah.
I'm excited. Go Flames!
Oh yeah, that'll be fun.
I'll be wearing my bucket hat.
Yeah. So, thank you guys for coming. Hey, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. New episodes come out every Thursday night at 7 o'clock on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, wherever you can watch your podcast. If you want to see us, see all these pictures that we'll post, it's on YouTube. So YouTube is the best way to watch these podcasts. So
Yeah.
make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow us. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week on the TRS Podcast.
Let's go. See ya.
Later.